to get down on ground level and to read it from where we come from, or to see the situation from where we come from. The cost of lockdown, which it is.
We've got a billionaire Prime Minister and a billionaire Prime Minister, both of whose families have used schemes to avoid millions of pounds of tax, smearing a working-class woman.
People can't afford to pay their rent. People can't afford to pay their mortgages. People can't afford to put the heating on, let alone, up the council tax.
Ant Middleton, the former SAS tough guy, just ripped into Keir Starmer on live TV. You won't believe what he said about Labour's immigration policies. In a heated exchange that left Starmer visibly shaken, Middleton exposed the Labour leader's biggest lies. Is this the end of Starmer's political career? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Ant Middleton's unexpected leap into the political arena has set tongues wagging, and for good reason. The former SAS tough guy has just gone toe-to-toe with Keir Starmer, and the results are nothing short of explosive. Middleton's military background couldn't be more different from Starmer's career as a barrister and politician, making this clash.
Going to turn something around, you have to do the hard yards up front. Don't look at a tough decision and then leave it for a year or two. So we're doing the tough stuff.
Yeah. It just shocks me, the inability to put themselves to the ground level, to read the room and to go, right, listen, people are struggling, even living, even food. Look at the cost of lockdown for food. The inflation is crazy.
A true study in contrasts. As Middleton began his critique, it quickly became clear that he wasn't interested in playing nice. He zeroed in on Starmer's handling of immigration, a topic that's been giving Labour headaches for months. But unlike the usual political doublespeak we're used to hearing, Middleton's words cut through the noise like a hot knife through butter. The ex-SAS sergeant didn't just make vague accusations. He came armed with facts and figures, pointing out specific instances where Starmer's actions failed to live up to his lofty promises. Middleton's approach was methodical, almost surgical in its precision. It was as if he was dissecting an enemy's weaknesses on the battlefield, and Starmer seemed woefully unprepared for the onslaught. One of Middleton's most damning critiques centered on Starmer's unfulfilled pledges to tighten immigration controls. He argued that these broken promises represent a betrayal of public trust, a sentiment that seems to be resonating with many voters. Middleton didn't mince words, stating that the growing number of migrants entering the UK is a direct result of failed policies and poor management under Starmer's leadership. As the confrontation heated up, cracks began to appear in Starmer's carefully constructed image. His responses seemed rehearsed and out of touch compared to Middleton's raw honesty. When confronted with statistics on illegal border crossings, Starmer appeared to be caught off guard, fumbling for a coherent response. Middleton's critiques went beyond mere policy failures. He emphasized the need for decisive action, contrasting Starmer's vague plans with his own call for accountability and results. This stark difference in approach seemed to strike a chord with viewers who've grown tired of politicians long on promises but short on delivery. The former SAS man's no-nonsense style made Starmer's political maneuvering look weak and ineffective by comparison. As Middleton pointed out the disconnect between Starmer's promises and public expectations, it became increasingly clear that Labour's leader was on the back foot. Ant Middleton's relentless assault on Keir Starmer's credibility took an unexpected turn as he shifted gears to tackle another hot-button issue: public services. The former SAS soldier, known for his no-nonsense approach, wasted no time in challenging Starmer on Labour's track record. As Starmer attempted to defend his party's stance, Middleton interrupted with a barrage of hard facts that left the Labour leader visibly shaken. The confrontation reached a fever pitch when Middleton brought up specific promises Starmer had made when he took the reins of the Labour Party. "You promised to improve public services, Starmer," Middleton said, his voice dripping with disdain. "But look at the state of the NHS now. Patients are facing longer waits for treatment, and public dissatisfaction is through the roof. How do you explain this colossal failure?" Starmer's response seemed rehearsed and out of touch, a stark contrast to Middleton's raw authenticity. The former Special Forces operator shared personal anecdotes from his time in the military, painting a vivid picture of the efficiency and dedication he witnessed in the armed forces. He then juxtaposed these experiences with the current state of public services, leaving the audience to draw their own damning conclusions. But Middleton wasn't content with simply pointing out failures. He took aim at Starmer's leadership style, suggesting it lacked the decisiveness needed in times of crisis. "In the SAS, we learned to make split-second decisions that could mean life or death," Middleton explained. "But all I see from you, Starmer, are vague plans and excuses. The challenges facing our public services demand action, not empty rhetoric." As Starmer struggled to regain control of the narrative, Middleton delivered another devastating blow. He revealed a shocking statistic about the decline in public trust in Labour leadership, leaving the studio audience audibly gasping. The former SAS man's critique went beyond just pointing out failures. He was systematically dismantling Starmer's credibility piece by piece. The exchange reached its climax as Middleton challenged Starmer to explain the disconnect between Labour's promises and their actions. "You talk about improving education, but where's the funding?" Middleton demanded. "You claim to support the NHS, but waiting times are worse than ever. When will you start delivering on your promises instead of just making them?" Starmer's response fell flat, his words seeming to evaporate in the face of Middleton's unrelenting assault. The studio audience was visibly moved by Middleton's passionate critique, with many nodding in agreement as he spoke. The confrontation had laid bare the growing chasm between Labour's rhetoric and the harsh realities faced by ordinary citizens. Ant Middleton's confrontation with Keir Starmer has sent shockwaves through the British political landscape. The former SAS soldier's direct, no-nonsense approach has struck a chord with voters who are fed up with the usual political doublespeak. Middleton's military background lends him an air of credibility that many career politicians lack, presenting him as someone who can take decisive action rather than just talk in circles. This clash between Middleton and Starmer isn't just another political spat. It's a stark reminder of the growing demand for authenticity and accountability in British politics. The public is increasingly drawn to leaders who can cut through the noise and deliver real results. Middleton's ability to challenge Starmer head-on has exposed the Labour leader's perceived weaknesses and may well have lasting consequences for his political career. As the dust settles on this confrontation, one question lingers. Will this be the wake-up call that British politics needs? Only time will tell if this clash will spark a genuine shift towards more transparent, action-oriented leadership, or if it's just another fleeting moment in the ever-spinning political circus.